The rain had begun without warning, drumming against the glass towers that lined the financial district. Employees hurried toward parking garages with briefcases over their heads. Taxis splashed through puddles, and the city settled into the restless rhythm of another evening. A little girl stood beneath the flickering awning of an old corner bookstore, clutching a backpack that looked almost bigger than she was. She couldn't have been older than 10. She wasn't waiting for anyone. She was watching. Across the street, a black luxury sedan rolled silently toward the curb outside one of the tallest office buildings in the city. The back door opened. The driver stepped out. Inside the lobby, employees gathered in respectful silence as one man finished, shaking hands after another successful board meeting. His name was Nathaniel Brooks, 46 years old, founder of one of the fastest-growing technology companies in the country. Every business magazine called him brilliant. Very few people called him happy. His wife had died 4 years earlier after a sudden illness, and since then, work had become the place where grief stayed quiet. He smiled when people expected him to. He attended charity galas. He donated millions to children's hospitals. He built schools. He funded scholarships. Then every evening he climbed into the same black sedan and returned to a house that still felt too large for one person. As he stepped through the revolving doors, the driver hurried forward. "Good evening, sir." Nathaniel nodded. "Long day?" "The usual." The driver reached for the rear passenger door. Before Nathaniel could take another step, a small voice echoed across the sidewalk. "Don't get into that car." People turned. The little girl had left the bookstore awning. Rain soaked her hair almost instantly. She stood frozen beside the curb, staring directly at Nathaniel. "Please." Her voice shook. "Don't get in." The driver frowned. "Young lady, step back." She didn't move. Nathaniel looked at her carefully. She wasn't shouting for attention. She wasn't filming him. She wasn't asking for money. She looked frightened, truly frightened. Security guards from the building started walking toward her. Nathaniel raised one hand. "It's all right." The guards stopped. He walked a few steps closer. "What's your name?" "Amara." "Why are you telling me not to get into my car?" She swallowed hard. "Because..." She looked toward the sedan. "Something feels wrong." Several people exchanged amused smiles. One businessman laughed quietly. Nathaniel didn't. "What do you mean?" "I don't know." "You saw someone?" She slowly shook her head. "No." "You heard something?" "No." "Then why?" She looked embarrassed. "My grandma always tells me that when God makes your heart feel loud, you should listen before you understand." The driver sighed impatiently. "Sir, we're already behind schedule." Nathaniel continued looking at the little girl. She reminded him of someone, not because of her face, because of the certainty in her eyes. His late wife had looked exactly like that the day she insisted they cancel a flight because she had a feeling something wasn't right. He had laughed. She convinced him anyway. That flight never reached its destination. Nathaniel had never forgotten. He turned toward the driver. "Open the hood." The driver blinked. "Sir?" "Humor me." Security looked confused. The driver reluctantly released the hood latch. Nothing looked unusual. Nathaniel almost apologized. Then an elderly maintenance worker walking past stopped suddenly. "Don't touch that." Everyone turned toward him. He pointed beneath the engine compartment. "I've worked on cars for 35 years. He leaned closer. "That wire..." His expression changed. "It doesn't belong there." Within minutes, police officers surrounded the vehicle. The parking area was evacuated. The bomb squad arrived. Nathaniel stood beneath the building entrance with Amara, wrapped in one of the hotel's dry blankets, while officers carefully examined the car. Nobody spoke. 10 endless minutes passed. Then one officer slowly walked toward the police commander. He whispered something. The commander's face turned pale. He looked directly at Nathaniel. "Sir, there was an explosive device hidden beneath the engine." The entire sidewalk fell silent. The driver staggered backward. One employee covered her mouth. Nathaniel looked down at the little girl standing beside him. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't proud. She simply looked relieved. "I told you," she whispered softly. "Please don't get in the car." Nathaniel knelt until they were eye level. "You saved my life." She shook her head. "I just said what I felt." Rain continued falling around them, as flashing police lights reflected across the wet streets. Nathaniel realized something in that moment. Every board meeting, every billion-dollar decision, every award hanging in his office, none of it had saved him. A quiet little girl who expected nothing in return had done that. And before the night was over, he would discover that Amara's family was carrying a burden far heavier than anyone standing on that sidewalk could imagine.